Hello and welcome to another video of mine. I'm currently staying in a small town called Betty's Bay for the last couple of months, and I've just been shooting landscape videos and photos, kind of biding my time during lockdown before I finally move to England and join my family there, hopefully very soon. I've kind of just been shooting some landscapes in the last while. My buddy Stian from Cape Town came and joined me, and we embarked on a couple of adventures together and going down to the seaside, shooting some long exposure landscapes there, as well as going up into the mountains here in Betty's Bay and checking out some waterfalls and shooting around there. Today I just kind of want to talk to you about shooting landscapes and troubleshoot some landscape photography. Now, I'm shooting on a Canon 450D, which I borrowed from a family member because my Canon 5D's shutter mechanism gave up a few months back. I'm shooting on the 450D, which is an APS-C sized camera with my Canon 1635 f2.8, and it's quite something to get used to, that kind of narrower field of view you get from an APS-C sized sensor. I had to improvise, and I still wanted to get nice wide panoramics and not let the APS-C size sensor stand in my way. So the first series of images are of this waterfall and rock pool in the mountains, and the further I go to the left, the more you can see it kind of going at an angle because I didn't really level my tripod, which is my first mistake. Second series of images, it's by the coastline in Betty's Bay. I just wanted a little bit of a wider field of view on this. I love the way the rocks kind of went out towards the horizon. My tripod was a little bit more level here. And then finally we've got one last image, bright sunlit conditions. I want to see if I can salvage this image somehow. Alright, so let's get started with our first series of images, and I'm going to select the waterfall images, select all of them in Bridge, and I'm first going to load them up in Camera Raw. Right, now that they've all loaded up in Camera Raw, I'm going to select one of the central images here, and then press Ctrl or Command A and select all my images so that when I do any kind of adjustments in Camera Raw, they all sync up. So I don't have to do anything individually per image. Alright, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to do basic adjustments to my image just to kind of prep it for when I merge it into a panorama after this. So first off, I'm just going to make it slightly bit cooler. It's too warm to my liking. That was due to the filter that I used in this. I used a Tiffin Pro Mist filter, I think a 1/4, 1/8, not quite sure, I can't remember, as well as a Polar Pro ND filter and a polarizer. So the color shift might be a little bit strange, but it's totally fine. I'm actually going to just white balance this out. There we go. 100%. I've already done a bit of basic corrections here, but I'm going to just do a little bit more. Let's lift those shadows up, a little bit of texture, let's bring that down. Add a little bit more haze to it, just to kind of emphasize that misty, dreamy look in the image already. And then bring my vibrance all the way up, saturation, bring that down a little bit so it just kind of evens it out, but also just leaves a bit of the vibrance intact. Now I've done an S-curve to this image as well, just a basic, very slight S-curve, and I'm just going to go down, minimal sharpening, pretty much no noise reduction or anything else. I'm just going to mess around with the colors a little bit. I want a kind of like an autumny kind of look to the image. So I'm going to just make those leaves in the background a little bit more yellow and orange. Quite like the look of that. And then the aquas, let's see if there are any aquas. I don't think so, and there's probably a bit more blue in this image than anything else. Yeah, down here in the bottom, just a little bit. Everything in moderation. Okay, Not really much of a fan of profile corrections. I think it's actually okay as is. Yeah, happy with that. I'm just going to change these colors around a little bit as well. Just play around, but really, it's all it really is. It's just experimentation. Alright, I quite like where this is going. A kind of autumny kind of look to it. It's also quite nice with the green in the background and the blue in the foreground. I like the color scheme happening there. Let me just see if I can just lift these blues up a little bit. Okay. I really think that's done. I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm going to click done, and then it's going to save the metadata into XMPs next to the files. It's going to just quickly refresh and bridge. Let's see. Yeah. Quite happy with that. That looks really cool. Alright, I'm going to select all these images now and then go into Tools and Photo Merge. I was going to bring up this dialog box and all my files are selected in it already. It's on auto. It's just the way I wanted. I want them to be blended together. I don't want to do anything else to this. So I'm just going to click OK and let that do its thing. It's going to take a little while. Okay, so it merged the images together now, and straight off the bat I can see this is going to be a bit problematic, but let's see if we can save this image. So on the left here, it's stretched out this whole segment here, and I'm going to try and correct that stretch out kind of look. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my layers in the layer palette and right click and just say merge layers, and now I can press M for the marquee tool and just drag this over to about there. I think this stretching kind of starts over here, and then press Control or Command T, hold and Shift, and just drag this in. I'm going to press Enter. It's going to apply the changes, and it looks a bit better already. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to do that again and just select a smaller, narrower area. Press Control Command T again, hold and Shift and drag in, and I think that will solve it. Okay, I'm going to press C and just crop my image just so we can get rid of all the useless areas here. So another thing worth mentioning is that when you're shooting a panorama like this, it's always useful to overshoot a bit, because you're always going to end up losing a lot of information. Shoot more when you're shooting a panorama rather than shooting less. I'm just going to move this crop over a little bit. There we go. Yeah, quite happy with it. I'm going to press OK. And there we go. We've got our shot. Just want to see if it's nice and sharp everywhere. Now I'm shooting on a Canon 450D. It's only a 12 megapixel camera, I believe, so it's not going to be the best resolution. And also my my focus point isn't here. It's actually back here. It's alright. I can deal with that. I still shot this at f16, so it's alright. I can let this go. It's not ideal. In an ideal world, I would have done the panorama as well as another one where I focus stacked and actually aimed at the rock in the foreground here, because that's our main center of interest. Let's see, I don't know if this is skew or if it's just me feeling a bit weird about this image, but I'm just going to adjust it using the crop tool again. That looks a little bit better. And now I'm going to just duplicate this layer, background layer, and I'm going to go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to add like a 25% Gaussian blur onto this. Oh, it's actually just Sorry about that. I must actually just do my workspace so you can see my layer palettes. There we go. I'm going to set my blurred layer to lighten. Press Control Command L. Now that's going to bring up my levels palette, and I'm just going to increase this blur kind of contrast a little bit, so just so we can blend it in a little bit better. Take the opacity down to about 25%. Let's see if that's done anything. Yeah, there we go. So it kind of just blends the tones a bit better for landscape photography, especially as you can see there in the waterfall. Once that's done, I'm just going to duplicate my clean background layer again. Take that to the top, go up to Filter, Other, High Pass. And I'm just going to add a simple high pass filter to this, but leave it about 10. And just set that to soft light. You can see it sharpened the details quite dramatically. So we're going to take this down to about 60%, see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Can probably go down to about 40. Yeah, there we go. So it's just basic sharpness. I know there's many other ways you can add sharpness to an image. And I don't know, I'll maybe make a tutorial about that if you're interested in learning. Comment down below. Yeah, I think for now I am quite happy with this image, and I'm going to just go to channels. I'm gonna control click on the red channel, go back to my layers palette, go to my adjustment layers and select curves, go to my red channel, just slightly increase the luminance of the red channel. Okay, once that's done, I'm gonna do exactly the same for the green channel. Go down to curves, repeat the process. Let's see, yeah, we want to gently just increase the green there, and then do exactly the same for blue. I'm just going to put all those in a folder and just do a quick before and after. So there you can see before and after. It's just a little bit warmer, a little bit richer. Just going to call this luminance, and then add another curves layer and just slightly bump it up a little bit. Let's see what happens if I add a black and white layer to this and add its blending mode to luminosity and just kind of tweak the luminosity just a little bit further. Immediately we can get some really nice vibrance coming out of this image. And there we go. Right, I'm going to leave this image as is. I'm very happy with the way it looks now. Let's head on to the other images. Alright, so next up we are going to do this little seascape image. I've got 4 images. I'm going to select all of them and open them up in Camera Raw. Okay, same as before, I'm going to select all of them and just kind of start doing my basic corrections. Let's just white balance this out. A little bit too warm. There we go. Some texture, some clarity. Maybe some negative dehaze. I always remove chromatic aberration, even though there might not be any. Just a failsafe, really. That's all it is. And then I'm going to go down to my calibration. And just tweak the colors a little bit. Right, once that's done, I'm going to press done, and it's going to save all the information to the metadata, and we're ready to do yet another photo merge. So same as before, I'm going to load up to photo merge, just press OK, and let Photoshop do its thing. Okay, so as you can see, it's done exactly the same thing with the left side again for some reason. I'm going to just make sure all my layers are selected and then right click and say merge layers. After that, I'm going to press M for the marquee tool, drag this down and just press Ctrl or Command T on a Mac and just drag this in. Just so it's a little bit less stretched. There we go, I think that looks okay. Right, now I'm going to press C for my crop tool and just bring this in. Alright, I think that's good. Press OK. Alright, let's have a look. Oh. Might need to, oh no, that edge is fine there. Okay, funny thing about this photo, if I zoom in, as I was busy setting up my camera, there was a little seal that jumped out, and you can see him sitting right over there. This guy was just chilling there. I was wondering if I got him in my photo. Anyway, it's a little Easter egg, so there it is. Okay, first things first, I want to make sure that my horizon is straight and center, and first off I can see there's a big problem right there. So obviously this did not merge properly just in horizon. There was probably a wave that came over and then passed, and then Photoshop probably just got a bit confused, but we might be able to salvage this. Let's see, because it kind of also dips in over one bit there, just over this bit here. Maybe we can straighten that out and see, hopefully. Hope for the best. I think the best thing I can do here is probably select my marquee tool again. Let's see if I can't somehow move this up, or just skew it up or something. Let's just create ourselves a guide there. With distort. I'll just distort that bottom bit just a tad. Let's see. It's still bulging out a little bit there, so we might have to do a bit more extensive fixing. So I'm just going to crop that in a little bit more. Right, let's say, come on, J. I'm tempted to go liquefy, really am. Don't know if it's gonna really work. Just because I really want it to be dead straight. And not look like it's been kind of brushed in to be straight, you know. So, let's see what we can do. Just gonna create a really big brush and just gently go down. Might help if I actually have the warp tool selected. There we go. Just really slightly, just. Oh, I hope that is straight. Let's have a look. I always tend to get a bit too crazy with these things. Never ever trust myself with them. Okay, let's have a look. That does look quite straight-ish, I believe. Right, now. Okay, I'm just gonna hide that guide away, and where was this tear? Okay, this tear is here. I'm just gonna merge these layers again, and now create a new layer, and just call that retouch or RT. And I'm just gonna kind of fix this up just a little bit. Another point of reference can I use there? Go. I'm gonna go over to the healing brush tool and just simply heal this. It should be alright. Alright, at least it seems to not have done too much damage to the image. Obviously this is definitely not ideal. This is kind of like a worst case scenario. Alright. Awesome, I don't see any other kind of tears here. My only concern is this area. It's this area over here. And all I'm going to do is just create another layer just for safety and just select very low opacity and flow and just gently kind of merge this in just so it looks like it's still part of it but also gently fading out. There we go. I think that works a little bit better. Just want to make sure there are no other tears in this photograph. There might be times where you run into similar issues like this and you need to fix it up. So this is pretty much my way of doing it. It's not necessarily the right way. If you know of a better way, please let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to learn. Okay, cool. Let's see if this is level. And I'm just going to now just do basic, some color grading to this. Right. This one I'm just gonna go black and white layer, luminosity, and just tweak the luminosity just a tad. Just hue and saturation. I just want to tweak the colors of the rocks just a little bit. Just make it feel a little bit richer. And then we are done. Blues, I just want to change to a bit more of a bright cyan blue. That's good. Cool, so I'm happy with that. I can actually go ahead and make this, crop this image a little bit differently. So should I wish to do that? I'm gonna make this a 17 by 6. It just simplifies this composition just a little bit more. Let's have a look. Yeah, quite happy with that. Seeing some weird things going on here. I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit of foam or something, mist kicking up from the waves. Whatever the case may be, I am just going to get rid of it, hopefully. That's it for the second last image. Alright, now that we're on our last image over here, it's not a panorama, it's just a straightforward landscape shot in bright daylight, probably about 12 o'clock or something in the afternoon. And for this exercise, I'm going to fiddle around in Camera Raw and see how much we can do with just using Camera Raw by itself. Okay, so firstly I'm going to just gently increase the contrast, bring down those highlights a little bit. Highlights a little bit. There we go. Take up those shadows a little bit more, bring in a little bit of texture, clarity, and just emphasize that dehaze by adding a negative dehaze. Alright, add a bit of vibrance, take out the saturation. Well, actually, let's see what it looks like as a black and white. Should we do this black and white? Yeah, let's do it black and white. Cool. So I'm going to actually add some more contrast to this. Decrease my shadows because it really brings out the rocky edges here. I like that a lot. And then play around with my curves a little bit, just add a gentle little S curve. Already this image looks quite striking. Right, let's do a little bit of sharpening. Okay, now we're coming to the fun stuff. So now we've got our black and white mixer, which basically changes the luminosity of the colors. There are no reds in this image really, so you probably have more luck, with the oranges, so we can decrease the luminosity of the oranges or just add them. Not quite sure, I like, maybe not too much, but I'm going to take some away there. Alright, add some yellow. Just add that contrast. Some greens. No aquas. There we go. Darken that sky a little bit more. I'm actually just going to bring down the exposure of this whole image. There we go. Make sure we don't break up any colors here. Like you can see on the edges over here already, it's looking a bit weird. It's our blue channel. Don't do it too much then. It's still good. We can actually add a gradient filter over the sky and just darken that up a little bit more. Add a bit of contrast. Those highlights. We've got a nice dark sky already. Okay. Next up, I'm going to add a radial mask, radial filter, sorry. And because I want to just bring in a little bit of light into the foreground over here. I'm just going to add, let's just make that not inverted and just increase this over here. What's nice about this rock is it adds a nice leading line going into the water and then going out towards the rocks at the edge there and then towards the sky. So your eye has a nice leading line to follow towards the horizon line. Clarity to this just to make it pop a little bit more. Bit of dehazing. And add a small little radial filter over there. Not as prominent, but just to bring out, I really like the texture of those rocks over there, so make it a bit more contrasty, but add a little bit of exposure. Alright, what else can we do? This bit over here. Let's do the same. Just kind of accentuate the mistiness over here. Right, not as much, but definitely a little bit. If we look at the before and after, quite like it as a black and white. Which one do you prefer? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm going to open this up into Photoshop. Let's just close our previous shot there. And I'm going to duplicate this layer, add a high pass filter and just sharpen it a little bit. Same we did it before. Oops. Down to about 40. A little bit of sharpness. Duplicate this layer again. Give it a bit more of a moody feeling by introducing some blur. There we go. And Control or Command L. And just increase the contrast of that blur. And then just finally bring the opacity down to about 25. Let's see what that looks like. Might be a little bit too much. Yeah, that's alright. What I might do is actually just change this back to an RGB image. Don't merge, don't rasterize. Actually, not a hue saturation, but a gradient map to this image. Reverse that up, and let's see. Okay, now it's in reverse, so we want kind of golden highlights and kind of metallic blue shadows. So let's make this darker. I think that's cool. I'm gonna press OK there, and I'm just gonna bring this down to, let's see what works the best for this. I think perhaps soft light. Yeah, no. Maybe even straight up, just normal. I'm just going to take the opacity down a little bit, just so it's kind of hinted at. And then of course, I just want to make sure my horizon is straight, so I'm just going to drag a guide down. So I'm just going to take my crop tool, and I'm just going to crop it ever so slightly, if I can. Okay, so there you go. I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'm gonna just go ahead and save this. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do. Please help me out by just giving this video a thumbs up. Really, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of these types of videos, please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, see you then.